What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's up, bro?
Chilling, baby. How are thou?
I'm doing great, man. Good to be alive.
Hey, always a great day when you're alive, right?
Exactly.
Rather to be seen than viewed. That's what they say, man.
Dude, that's just, honestly, I kind of regret saying that. That's such a stereotypical, or not, or more of a cliche.
It's
just
a cliche,
response, like old person response. I'm getting old, man.
But this is my name, though. I like it because it's a mentality, it's a mind state.
It is.
Not everybody enjoys life. And that's something that you always have to understand. And that's why I always try to preach, man. Happy life, baby. It don't have to be happy wife. Just enjoy life, man. Any day you here, man, it's a great day because it's a ton of people that did not get this opportunity today, man.
That is true.
Yeah. So no matter how hard of a day it is for you, no matter how happy, how sad you are, if you on this earth and you breathing, you alive, baby, it's a great day, baby.
That is true. Gary Vee says this. I'm a fan of him. I know we've talked about him before.
Yeah.
But you just being on the earth is a miracle.
Yeah.
Just think of, he gets into like the amount of, I'm not even going to get into this, but your person, like your unique person being born, like is so rare and like unique. Like you think there's 7 billion people in the world, but
there's only one of you, man.
It's crazy. I mean,
and I think of what Dick LeBoy used to always tell me before every practice. He said, it's a great day to be alive, man.
Absolutely.
When you think about it, you like, dang, you right. You right. All right. Shout out to Dick LeBeau, baby. Yeah.
So how about that? Us giving the listeners some positive vibes here.
Hey, man, sometimes you need that positivity. You never know what people are going through. And we do have a good amount of listeners. Shout out to everybody that does listen and tune in, man. Major love for y'all. But, hey, whenever you're down, just listen to this episode and know that we here to hype you up, baby. And with that being said,
what do you want to start with here?
Man, we can start offense.
Oh, yeah?
Offense.
Our offense?
No, Cincinnati's offense, so we can talk about our defense first. I won't go start with our offense. Are you crazy?
Okay.
Why would you? What? Really?
I thought, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking.
We go offense first.
No. I'm good with it.
Let's do offense first.
No, I'm good with it.
You sure?
I promise. Yeah.
All right. Because we're technically talking offense. It's just the Bengals offense or the lack thereof.
Dude, and that's why I feel good about this game, but I also don't, because I don't know how the hell we're going to win the game. But if you look at everything that's going on right now, I have no clue. But they look incompetent with this. I think I called him Lindley on the last podcast because that was the old that was the old Arizona quarterback, but he might as well be Lindley instead of Finley. It's all the same. It's just garbage.
Yeah.
Although you never know. Maybe he could come around at some point, but because he's a rookie, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But he's terrible right now. Let's put it that way.
I'm still mad. It's funny, before anyone even knew about Ryan Finley at the NFL level, because obviously he was on the bench until they benched Andy Dalton and put him in. I had beef with him because a year ago, my JMU Dukes played NC State. It's a tough game. We should win. They end up winning. And who was the quarterback for NC State? Ryan Finley. So ever since then, I'm like, yep, I don't like you. I know I haven't met you personally, but you beat my Dukes and I got beef with you. So that's why I was already aware of this young man and his some of the things he does good and some of the things he does bad, but he's just like any rookie quarterback. We talk about it, and we talk about, now you're seeing the difference, though, between rookie quarterback with more talent and Mason Rudolph. Technically, like I said, rookie in terms of first year starter,
right?
Not rookie in the NFL, because technically it's his second year. But you see the difference in Mason's talent versus Ryan, who was a later guy in terms of when he was acquired, and you see in his talent and his efficiencies. Now you can see the gap just between those. And then we obviously talk about a Kyler Murray, for example, who is number 1 overall, and the talent that he has, even though he still makes errors. So it's levels to this. So it's like as much as we get on Mason, as much as sometimes we like, we make the switch, just know it's levels to this thing.
Dude, there's some stuff that NFL.com came out with, you speaking of Kyler Murray, that we could get to later. We're talking about quarterback. Why, did you see this too?
Did some of the QBR ranking?
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
We could get into that later if you want to.
We saw where Mason was ranked at?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
The thing about this dude Lindley, though.
Finley.
Oh my God.
Hey, Lindley, Finley, they both the same.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter at this point. Bengals QBX. He escapes the pocket a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you watch that game, never at one point, I don't know about you, did I ever feel that, wow, the Bengals are going to win this.
Correct.
Even though it was close, it was 17-10. I remember us talking about it initially. We were like, look, the Bengals kind of kept it in check with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Should we be concerned? And then obviously I looked at some stuff. I'm like, I don't think it was that close. Because
this was the thing that was funny, like watching that game. Joe Mixon, he's the reason why that offense even moved, why they scored, why they even were competent. But outside of him, it was just
what did he throw? 30% passing?
It was bad.
100 yards?
The inaccuracy, the late throws, the turnovers. Like, they just had a lot of bad stuff. But Joe Mixon, ever since they made the switch actually to Ryan Finley, Joe Mixon has had his most output this season from those 3 games. And it's because before, when they had Andy Dalton, the focus was on Dalton throwing the ball. And Mixon was the second guy, the afterthought. Whereas when they switched to Finley, we always talk about with young quarterbacks, their best friends are running backs and tight ends, because those are the people that can ultimately be a safety net around them. So you're seeing the focus be on Joe Mixon and why he's getting the ball a lot more in terms of running instead of touches when he's running the ball, and touches in the passing game as well. And also Giovanni Bernard.
Seems pretty foolish to say that, though, because they should have been locking in and focusing on Mixon when Dalton was there.
I agree.
Because if you look at that game, maybe it would have been closer. Or I was reading some stuff, some Bengals fans saying, man, if Dalton was in there, I think we win that game.
Nah. But the problem was, and we've seen this before, when we've played the Bengals and Andy Dalton's at quarterback and Mixon's in the backfield, they didn't want to just fully commit to him. They felt that Andy Dalton was the guy they paid the money to, and they wanted him to be the guy. So they would have him out there throwing it, whether it's AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, or even Tyler Eifert. And this was pre-injuries for Tyler Eifert, so he was still a threat. But now you're just seeing that they still wanted Dalton to be that type of guy. And
the money hits different, right? You said
absolutely, that. Absolutely, yeah. When you get paid like that, like we expect it. It doesn't matter. And the issue is, Dalton is only good if AJ Green is there, because AJ opens up so much for them. Tyler Boyd's numbers are way better when AJ's on the field because it opens up so much for them. They weren't getting that. But when you focus on Joe Mixon's a big, athletic, fast back. Like, I don't care what his numbers say, he's still a top 5 running back in this league, and it's not close. Like, he's that type of player.
I mean, you saw him when he did get the ball against the Raiders, making some of those cuts.
Cashing them all the time.
He did. He looked
like
good.
He does certain things that you look around, and there's not a lot of guys who can do that, especially at his size and his speed. Like, you just look like, okay, he's the real deal. And you can not like him as a person, and I'm not saying I like him as a person, but you respect his game. And that's the one thing I always say, like, forget the name, just look at what he's doing, and you could tell when he's on the field, he's one of the best players on that field every time.
No doubt. Yeah. So that's obviously the thing that we got to do is try to stop him, lock in on him, just make Finley try to beat us. Yeah. And the interesting thing is, the only way I see them scoring is early. I don't know about you, but maybe in the first half, off something fluky, because whenever our defense really needs to, and you kind of saw it in the Raiders game, they're not going to do anything when it comes down to winning time and pulling out a drive and, hey, we have to score here to keep this game in check.
Going on, man.
So the only way I see them scoring is something fluky, a long run by Mixon maybe. Or
when you look at how they scored, think about it. Mixon had like the 30 or 40 yard run up the sideline.
Dude, and even the goal line touchdown was...
it was all him. He runs right, puts a foot in the grill, cuts back like crazy. Yeah, but that's Joe. That's what he's capable of. But the thing that I do like is this. Any teams that have elite level running backs, I always feel that bodes well for the Steelers, because you have Vince Williams. If you want to play the physical run downhill game, he's here. If you want to try to get these guys in space, you had Devin Bush and Mark Barron, who can definitely do that versus a running back. So those are the things where I'm always like, that doesn't scare me. Like,
it doesn't, just because if you're going our defense versus the Raiders defense, I think we're way better.
Absolutely.
And both. One, the rushing, and then also our pass coverage has been incredible too. So, like I said, I don't know how the heck we're gonna win this game, just because.
Well, see, this is.
I don't see them scoring any points. I don't know if we're gonna score either.
This is what I think. in terms of how we win or how we score on this team. The Bengals are -11 in their turnover ratio. Every game except I think it's the Cardinals and Rams. So every game they played except 2, they've turned the ball over. You think about the Steelers defense on the flip side. Last week was the first time since week 1 where they didn't have a turnover.
Yeah.
This defense thrives on creating turnovers. They also do what? Create a ton of pressure. You look at the amount of sacks they have. What did the Bengals do? They've allowed 36 sacks.
They're last in everything.
So when you factor in those 2 things right there, that lets me know a couple of things. Number 1, we're going to get the opportunity to get turnovers. And what we've seen from this defense is what? They score when they get the ball on defense. And then the flip is this. Short fields. We know that, okay, Boz is hitting, so that's definitely good. But then also, this offense has shown that, hey, they can get the occasional touchdown. It's not something that you want to bank on consistently right now because they haven't proved it. But they have shown that, hey, we can score. It's not consistent, but we can do that. And we're talking about a Bengals defense that has struggled mightily versus the run. They can still rush the passer, but in terms of their linebackers, they don't really have a lot there. And that's the thing when you're looking at me like, this is a matchup that you have to feel good about. Even with the injuries, even with the suspension and things like that, you still feel good in terms of how we match up versus this team.
No, definitely. I guess just look back 2 weeks ago, we beat the Rams, you know?
Yeah.
And these guys are nowhere close to the Rams.
True.
Nowhere close.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good, definitely about our defense, maybe a 15-6 game or something like that. But
so for me, I'm not giving my prediction just yet, man. I'm waiting on that.
I may have jumped the gun.
You
there.
did.
But I guess I'm just giving to your point there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a lot of field goals and maybe the occasional touchdown. But you want to switch to the offense here and what to look for.
Let's see.
It feels like from watching that Bengals game,
mm-hmm.
we're both feeling the same pain right now. Both teams.
Man.
I don't think they got any weapons, but we're still, I'd say, a notch above where we're a little more competent.
This is where we flip-flop. I think they have the better offensive weapons, but their offensive line is so bad, it minimizes that.
Okay.
Whereas I think we have the better quarterback. I think they have the way better running back.
For sure.
I think their receivers and Tyler Boyd and Tyler Eifert are better than what we're potentially going to be walking out there on Sunday. Because you have to think,
whose offense do you think is going to look more competent, though?
Well, this is the thing. Our offense is going to look better because it's not going to be under duress. When you don't have an offensive line that can protect, it doesn't matter who's their quarterback. They're not going to have time to get the ball off. They're not going to have time to really go through their reads. Whereas and you have to think, too, from a defensive standpoint, who has the better defense? That's what we talked about with the Rams game, right? It's like, oh, Goff looked terrible. Mason looked all right. And it's like, well, Goff is going against what defense in the league, and Mason's going against what defense in the league.
I wonder if anyone's going back on that Instagram post I made with the Mason versus Goff comparison.
So that's the only reason why I'm just kind of like, it's hard to say whose offense is going to look better because I anticipate the Steelers' offense looking better just because that Bengals defense doesn't have the personnel and the names they do have. They're a little bit older, and their effort hasn't looked that good. When you talk about Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins, like Geno still plays hard, but they take some plays off. And when you look at Dunlap, you can tell he's just trying to get a sack. If he doesn't get a sack, he's just chilling. Geno's going to rush the passer hard. He'll play the run hard when it's at him. If it's away from him, he's not going like I used to. And sometimes that 0-10, it gets you a little bit. You'll be like, all right, I'm playing hard. Don't get it twisted because you still want to get the numbers, obviously, for future contract situations. But yeah, it's times where you're going to make the business decision saying, hey, man, we suck. So let me not go out here and try to, kill myself or get hurt.
You never made that business decision up in Buffalo, did you?
No, I mean, see, for me, I was lucky that I never had to experience that late in my career. I started out 0-8 my rookie year, but it's your rookie year, so you just hyped to be out there. So you just trying to do whatever. But that's different when you get to year 8, 9. You like, hey, man. Hey, easy. Don't hit me like that, man. All right, we suck anyways, bro. I'm going to get this sack. But after that, hey, man, you got it. I'm going to do my job. But it's, like I said, I always laugh because it's different. It's not like you going out there and intentionally playing bad. It's just you see where the term guys play with their hair on fire. Where it's like, oh, he made the great chase down all the way from the backside of taking on a block. He runs against the guy 5 yards downfield. That's a high effort play, right? When you're winning or if you're competitive, you're making those plays. When you're 0-10, you're kind of like, man, that ball all the way over there. I'm not about to run over there. I'm about to save it and go try to get to the next play. Like, that's the difference. Not, hey, I'm not going to like try to beat you.
Right.
Like, it's just those type of efforts you're not seeing consistently. And that's typically what you see with these type of teams right now.
Probably that play to play, I'm not going to let you beat me, is more pride thing. If you're out there,
it's pride thing,
when we're talking about your work.
When you're 0-10, is you playing with your pride right now.
Yeah.
Pride or in contract situations. That's what you think.
And then, but those extra things might be pushed to the wayside a little bit.
Absolutely.
Which I can understand.
It's kind of like when you think NBA, right? And they're like, oh, when it's playoffs, everybody's diving on the ball for a rebound, diving to save a ball, going out of bounds. You don't see that when a team is tanking in the NBA. They're not about to die. Bro, what I look like that? You think Golden State, when they were getting blasted by the Mavericks last night, you think they were out there diving on the ground? Nah. They're like, look, man, we 3-12, bro. We getting smacked by 50. Don't worry about that.
I had that thing playing in the background as I was doing some of the stuff for us. You know what I mean? And they were talking about sitting Doncic in like the second quarter. They were like, hey, we should probably sit him so he doesn't get hurt. Like, and they started talking about the Tua injury and all that stuff. But yeah, those type of games, that's probably all you're trying to get out of it. Don't be injured.
Contract, don't get hurt, bro. That's it. And that's kind of what you're seeing with this Bengals team right now, man. But that's why I do feel optimistic, even with the injuries, because right now, Deontay Johnson's still in the protocol, even though he's practiced as a full participant 2 days in a row. Juju is still out with the concussion and the knee injury. Ola has been cleared of the protocol, so he's been practicing full. But you got Bud, who's dealing with the arm injury as well. Obviously, Pouncey's suspended. So it's a ton of moving pieces around in terms of availability, in terms of what this offense could potentially look like. But when you look at the effort, that's the biggest thing. I'm like, the Steelers still have something to play for. Literally, they win this week, they're right back in it. They win that Browns game, they're right back in it.
Yep.
And that's
we win the Browns game, we might be back in that 6th spot.
No, that's realistically.
Yeah.
And everything is matching up and looking towards that Bills game as the big one, but you got to take care of business right now.
Yep.
And that's the thing with them. And for me, I look at that and I say this is the perfect storm in terms of coming off a bad performance, especially if you're the offense we're talking about, right? Coming off of a performance on Thursday night where you struggled, you couldn't move the ball, couldn't score points. Now you go versus the Bengals defense that isn't going to be as enthused as that Browns team. They aren't as hyped as that Browns team. They also don't have the names and caliber of athletes as that Browns team. All that bodes well for you.
This is a good week to have those missing pieces, to have some of those injuries. And I think it'll come down to, here's the thing. They're talking about Benny Snell potentially playing.
Yes.
What do you think of that? Because I could see it going 2 different ways. If he plays, I say you run the rock with him, throw out Samuels out there, do something very similar to what we did Monday night versus them. But if he's not playing, I think Mason's going to have a pretty decent game.
This is my thing. I think regardless of if he plays or not, Mason has to have a good game, and here's why.
Good game as in 250,
no,
two
I don't
touchdowns?
care about the numbers. I'm saying he has to be highly efficient, has to make possession plays, possession down plays, highly efficient, do not turn the ball over. I don't care if that's 20 for 25 for $180 or if it's 25 for 30 for $260. You can't have the turnovers. You have to control this offense, and you have to win possession downs. That's my biggest thing. So I don't care what the numbers are. That's what he has to do. And here's why. How long has Benny Snell been out? Couple of weeks, right? He's coming off a knee surgery. We think about when Jalen Samuels had his knee surgery. Remember, even the first week when he came back practicing, they were talking about, he might play, but he didn't. Smart move by him. The issue is this. Benny Snell's a rookie. So it's not as if he's done this for a while. So experience from a physical element and a mental preparation element are lacking there. Then you think about the physicality element. He's not used to this level yet. Even when he was dressing at the beginning of the season, remember, it was he might dress, he might not dress. He might play on special teams, he might get a snap or 2 on defense, but he wasn't out there like that. And now, this is first week back, off a knee surgery. He's not hitting in practice. You want to put him out there on Sunday and say he's the workhorse, he's the belt. And no,
it feels like Connor.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. It feels and that's why for me, in theory, I would love to say, yeah, man, have Benny be the workhorse. But I know as a player, what it feels like when you're first coming back from an injury, the uncertainties associated with it, how is it going to hold up versus these hits? And then you factor in he's at the running back position where he's getting hit every play. He has to make cuts. And he prides himself being a physical runner. At least with Jalen, he was elusive. Benny it's Benny Snell football. He wants to run through you. All those things I don't feel comfortable with in terms of that truly working come Sunday. But that's why I think if Mason is efficient with the ball, though, you don't have to lean on Benny for 20 carries. You can keep it at 10, 15. You're splitting that with Jalen Samuels.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
10 to 15 touches in general. And now you got something cooking.
It would just be really nice to have him out there either way, because whenever Connor's not out there, you saw it in the Browns game, and even the Colts and the Rams game. Edmonds had a nice run. He's had some, decent plays here and there, but there's still something lacking.
I think
in terms of the power running game.
But we have to realize is this: none of our runners right now are going to go out there and wow you with 80 to 100 yards rushing. I think you can do the cumulative of, hey, Benny Snell, I need 30 to 40 from you. Jalen Samuels, I need another 10 to 15 from you, or 30 total offense yards from you. All right, Trey Evans, I need this much from you. And now when you add that all up, now you get a nice rushing performance or a nice on-the-ground performance from your backs.
Wouldn't you say a healthy Snell, though, has that potential?
Why would you think that? Because outside of a Chargers game, when have you seen it?
That's true, but that's what I mean. Especially if you look at his whole thing with preseason and regular season.
He's about what he looked like in the preseason.
But this is what I'm saying. Yeah. Regular season, he's looked like a different player.
Right.
Like if you give him the 20 to 25 carries,
but a super small sample size. Correct?
Right.
And that's the issue.
It is the issue, but part of probably a lot of people would want to say, "Hey, let's go and see if he's got it."
Yeah.
This isn't the game for it though, because coming off this injury, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Well, because this is the thing too. If you go with that approach to see what he has, feed him. Maybe this is Benny Snowball, and he has a setback. The knee isn't feeling the way it should be feeling, because a lot of times when you're first cleared to practice, you're not necessarily healthy enough to play in the game.
Right.
But the reason why it's heightened this week is because of the James Conner injury. So when we talk about players feeling that pressure of, I need to get out there.
Yeah.
A lot of young players, they don't always handle it the right way. And even if they probably shouldn't be out there, they're going to be out there. I was a victim of it myself. I know for a fact. It was times early in my career I went out there when I knew I shouldn't have been out there. But you feel that pressure of, hey, man, we short a guy. This guy's hurt. We got expectations for you. You got it, man. You good. And the vets say, be smart. And we was like, what you mean be smart? Just be smart.
They give you like that side look to you, little wink.
Be
too.
smart. As we hit you, just be smart, bro. Because you're like, oh, yeah, when you really look back and think what you're really about to do right now, you're like, this ain't make too much sense right there.
Yeah, so part of me, I wouldn't even be opposed to him not playing. But if he does, it would be the split work, limited carries. Yeah. But even if he is out there in a limited capacity, it could be something that is very useful and helpful in our backfield.
For me, I'm always a big believer in just putting caution around the expectations. I know people want to hold on to that hope of Benny Snell football, but when we look at everything we've seen from him, preseason and regular season included, it's been a lot more negative performances than there have been positive performances. So for me, it's hard for me to just say, even when healthy, seeing these things, now that he's coming off of an injury, I'm expecting to see something better than that, or something that's still a good performance. Like, that's just typically, like I said, he could go out there and surprise me and prove me wrong, and I would love it.
I just think the potential's there. I don't know if you have to have those expectations.
Well, this is the thing when we talk about the potential. We said the same thing in terms of in preseason. Who had more potential, Trey Edmonds or Benny Snell? But we looked at who was more productive throughout the preseason, though,
right?
And it wasn't even close.
No,
and that's what I'm letting.
I guess that's why they ended up keeping him, though, right? Yeah, and proved him right in the regular season thus far. I'd say, at least in the amount of time that he's gotten.
It depends on how you want to grade it. We had a Chargers game that was good. We had one carry versus the Seahawks that was good. Am I lying? What? No, seriously. Not just think about it. When else outside of that Seahawks on, was it 4th and 1 or it was a 31? He went for 23 yards, right? Made the safety miss in the hole.
Yeah.
Broke it 23 yards, got tackled. Then the Chargers game, James Conner gets hurt in was it the second half? It was like halftime, early third quarter. He goes in there, has a really good performance in the second half, right? I think it was 70 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
outside of those two moments, what have we seen to make you say, yo, he looks good?
That's all I need to see, because those are the only times he was out there, really, right? When he was given the rock, he performed. Clutch.
I like your mindset. I like your mindset.
Clutch. Maybe he was taking preseason like you're saying these Bengals players are taking the games at 0-10. He was like, this is preseason. Come on, dog.
If a rookie's feeling like that, that makes me scared for him long term. That's all I'm saying.
He's just got that confidence, man. You just know.
All right. Hey. I ain't even gonna go. I was about to drop some names of guys who've had that mentality and see how that worked out for them. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I'm gonna leave it at that. You got it,
bro. So anything else with this offense? Receivers were definitely limited.
Yeah, without a doubt, man.
And there's definitely been talks. You kind of squashed it with me throughout the week.
I was hoping. I was waiting for you to bring it up. Go ahead.
Really?
Say it.
About bringing in hometown hero.
Yes.
Terrell Pryor.
The Jeanette Star.
Yes. Because we are limited at receiver. And my initial text to you was, dude, this guy has got to be better than Holton, Tevin Jones, and even this new dude we just signed.
Yeah, Deion Kane. He was on the active roster with the Colts last year, too.
Yeah. So that was my question to you. Why aren't we bringing in Pryor? Why don't we give him a chance?
I like that.
He's the man. Like, I mean, if you look at him, he's an athlete. Put up 1,000-yard year with the Browns, and
keep going. And
he might have got that mentality that I'm talking about, where he just wanted to start relaxing a little bit after that. But now he's motivated. He wants to play for his hometown, Pittsburgh. And he wants to bring us home a Super Bowl. So that's all. There was a little gap between the Browns and now, but
Hey, what about before the Browns?
I just feel like he could turn back the clock. Well, I think there was an identity crisis there, because he was quarterback, then he was trying to find his way at receiver.
All right.
Then finally found it. He was on his last leg with the Browns, where now I'm playing for my football life. And he's up to this point again where, hey man, I want to get back in this. Not saying this is the best mentality to have if you're
I see. Lower, okay.
If you're having a career, but hey, maybe the Steelers should capitalize on it for a year or two.
Okay. So I had told you my personal opinions on
this. Isn't necessarily how I feel now.
No, because
this is the mentality.
I went and I did some extra work. So at first I gave you my opinion, right? I was like, hey, I simply said there's a reason why 30-year-old receivers or 30-year-old talented players aren't on a roster. If they're that talented, typically they would stick somewhere. And I pointed to how he's been released by multiple teams in a very short span. Guys that excel or guys that are really good players in this league typically don't bounce around for multiple teams. I think if you look at how many teams he's played for, it's like, was it 6? Let me count. Raiders, Browns, Jets,
Bengals. I think Bengals
Jaguars,
were before the Browns.
That's at least 5 right there. And I know I'm missing some other ones. So for me, I throw the Jets in there. He was with the Jets too for a little while. Yeah. So the thing is, I was just like, I understand he had that one season for 1,000 yards. And I understand he has the name because he played at Ohio State. My thing is this. Players that are really good in this league, or good players, they don't not stick places unless it's, number one, a lack of ability, or number two, they have issues with staffs, philosophies, and things along that nature. Yeah. So that's initially what I was like, that's probably some of the things that are going into it. But then I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's just how I feel. So I went and talked to some of the beat reporters that are at the Steelers facility every day. They're talking to the coaching staff every day. They're rubbing shoulders with Kevin Colbert, Mr. Rooney. They talking to these guys to understand. And I asked them, I was like, yo, so is there any validity to...
Look at this reporting, dude.
Yeah, I wanted to get some info. So I was like, is there any validity to, the Steelers and potential picking up Terrell Pryor? And I was like, I saw they signed Deion Kane, but was there ever any possibility of that really happening? And they said, absolutely not. They said the reason being is this. Coach Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, the staff, they pride themselves on being able to take unproven young players and molding them into fit their philosophy and to fit what they try to accomplish and making them good players. They also said that it's no substitute for playing football. So no matter how much he's been working out, no matter how much he's been running, these guys were either on rosters, practice squads, have been playing football the past 2 years, whereas Terrell hasn't. Terrell's been on a roster, released. Long period of time, on somewhere in the offseason, released. So they're saying that, hey, he's, no matter the name, I know it'd be a splash signing, he still isn't going to be football ready. So even if you sign him, he's not going to play this. I mean, if he does, he's not going to be what you think he is. And I know in terms of, oh man, it's Tevin Jones though. It's like you watch the film, Tevin is still capable of doing what you're required to do in terms of the special teams, in terms of the physical readiness for the blocking, and at least running the routes because he's been in the system. He understands like the calls and stuff like that. Whereas Terrell, he has to unlearn the stuff that he learned in Jacksonville earlier this year and all the other places he's been at. And then on top of that, he has to learn the Steelers stuff, make sure he's in football shape, get up to speed, and you got to do all that during the season while you don't get a lot of practice time. You don't get a lot of extra time to go out here and do all the extra stuff. And you got to make sure that you don't pull anything or hurt anything because you've been sitting around not doing football. So like working out is cool, but you haven't been playing football. So all of that stuff factored into the decision. I was like, well, thanks for your answer. I appreciate that information. I'll make sure I share that with our loyal listeners, and I'll share with my guy Deke.
Yep.
So that way you could rest a little bit, have peace of mind.
I get it.
Because I mean, I said the same thing. I'm like, well, I understand.
You were thinking that then?
Well, I wasn't thinking that he should be here, but I'm like, with all the conversation, like, okay, you signed Deion Kane. I'm like, all right.
You just didn't want to admit it to me.
No, in what regard? This is what you have to realize. I said when I say I was thinking of, I'm like, everybody's talking about Terrell Pryor, so I started thinking, okay, well, what is the reason in terms of why we didn't sign him or why we wouldn't sign him?
Right.
And then I'm like, well, if he's this good and all these other things, why hasn't anyone else signed him? And then I saw where he made the post, oh man, I turned down other people. I only want to play for the Steelers. I personally wasn't buying that.
Well, yeah, you told me that if someone's coming out of nowhere, if the Steelers aren't trying to sign you, but another team or two is and saying, hey, we'll take you for another million or two here, I don't know who's turning that down. Right. If you're already in football shape and ready to play football.
We said what? We looked up his contracts. Because you're allowed to do that. That's the beauty of the NFL, is the gift and the curse. People knew what I was making. I did not like it all the time. But the issue is this. You look at how much of the contract money he was seeing, and you do the math. That doesn't look like a guy who just turned down money from multiple teams and say, I'm only going to play for this team, even though they technically don't want me right now. So that was one of the things I was like, I don't really buy it. And then let's be real. Terrell Pryor's name is big enough that if teams have interest in him, we would hear reports of that, correct? We would hear, hey, man, rumblings about Terrell. It's no different than when AB, people have an interest in him. Or Brandon Marshall was like, hey, a couple of teams, these teams right here. So for me, that's why I just had a hard time believing that he's turned down multiple people, multiple organizations' money for the Steelers.
Yeah.
That was my only issue, man.
I get it. That was actually a really good explanation that they gave and good reporting by you.
Yeah, man, you know I shot you, man.
I appreciate that.
I was going to shout out my source, but then I'm like, I shouldn't do it because then, like, it's my source.
No,
right?
yeah,
you're not supposed to do it, right?
No,
yeah,
no.
That's I'm learning the journalism stuff.
Yeah, don't do that.
Shout out to my source, though.
But yeah, I get it. I mean, everything that I was talking about whenever we first brought up the topic, that was my initial, my text to you. Oh, why aren't we signing Pryor?
Oh, trust me, you weren't the only one. It came on multiple fronts, and I was like, all right, so this is what we're doing.
I get it. And I guess that explains why Dez hasn't been picked up, not only by us, but maybe some other teams.
But they said it was probably, they said Terrell Pryor had a higher possibility of getting signed before Dez, just because Dez is a little older and coming off the Achilles injury.
Gotcha.
So I'll give you some more information on that.
Oh, man. How about that, man?
Yeah. Because they were saying Dez, he tore his Achilles this time a year ago. So that recovery is very grueling. And he didn't play any football this offseason. Whereas at least with Terrell, he was in camp with the Jags.
Yeah.
But ever since he's been released from the Jags, no one's seen him ever since.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing.
I get you.
I got you though, bro. You know I got your back.
Dude, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. It's the least I could do.
It helps me see the full story and calms down my takes a little bit or opinions.
Hey, look, I'm here for us to grow.
I'm trying, man. I am. I told you that last podcast. This has been a weird year for me. This has been weird. You caught me at a weird time.
You're experiencing a lot, man.
You're getting a lot of ups and downs from me.
I'm seeing growth, though.
But you're seeing it from Steeler Nation, too.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what to do. I'm telling you.
I love it.
This is really strange.
I love it because this is, I feel like, where I thrive in this moment.
You do, because I'm telling you.
I'm the voice of reason.
If we had... I hate saying it. I keep saying it. But if we had been, I probably wouldn't be this way much. As much, we'll put it that way, because there's always that little fan in you that wants to make some splash moves or do something erratic.
The beauty of when you play for multiple organizations, you get multiple experiences. So I've been a part of great organizations. I've been a part of organizations that were on the rebuild. I've been a part of bad organizations. So out of those 3 experiences that I've had, I have a lot of experience in the different avenues of how to maneuver. And that's the only reason why I try to communicate with you and with our listeners and our viewers. Shout out to YouTube, everybody that watches up there as well. But that's the whole purpose of it, man, because it's a lot that goes into it, man. It's not as cut and dry as simple as it looks on Madden. I mean, we talked about that with coverage, right? You're like, on Madden, which bubble would this be? They don't really have all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't think this coverage is on Madden, bro. He's like, oh, yeah, I've never seen this before in my life.
Yep. And I guess that's what I should expect. I mean, you guys are getting paid a lot of money.
Well, we always tell people, like, when you play at the NFL level and you study and learn it, this is the equivalent of like the doctorate of this sport. It's the highest it's going to get. There is no higher level of football from a physicality or understanding from a schematic standpoint and philosophy standpoint. This is the best of the best. So that's what we say. Like, if you play this level for a long time, you were like the wise of all wise, you know, the knowledgeable of all. We're like the dudes with the big long white beards in the kung fu movies. Like, oh, that's sensei.
Damn, where am I at then? I don't even know. Because I didn't even play football, so I got to be even like below that.
No, because it's the thing though. You're with the sensei, so you're getting trained. True. You know what I mean? Think about it. Bruce Lee didn't start out Bruce Lee. Jet Li ain't started as Jet Li. You start.
We're getting deep here because it's probably better to have someone that's completely novice but has the open mind, willing to learn,
open to learn,
as opposed to maybe someone that's maybe a notch or two above, but just closed-minded and want to think in their own ways.
It's good to have a sensei that wants to teach.
There you go.
And doesn't want to just hold all this information for himself.
That's true.
You know, I try to spread love.
There's layers to this, yes.
Hey, there's several podcasts we got going today, baby.
It is, man. I was thinking that if people listen to our podcast and like listen to them, there's life lessons. There's little life lessons.
We're gonna give you football. We're gonna drop some gems.
There's little stuff. I mean, you get it from the interviews, but then you also there's little things back and forth that we give them too. But
we give the people what they need. But back to the game though. One of the no. Because, you know, we tend to venture off a little bit, but then we come right on back.
Exactly.
But one of the things that I think neither of us have hit on just yet, in terms of the key reason why I think the Steelers have the edge, the coaches.
Right.
You have Mike Tomlin versus a rookie head coach. Think about that. A rookie head coach who's struggling. A rookie head coach who hasn't had his first win yet. They're going through a transition in terms of quarterback, personnel. Whereas you have Coach Tomlin, who's proven to be a top-notch coach, future Hall of Famer. Let's be real about it.
Definitely.
You have that in him. I personally feel that he excels in those situations, especially when there's no talent gap. Like when we looked at the Browns game last week, we said, okay, the Steelers have the better coach, but there was a talent gap.
Yep.
It was a large talent gap.
Yep.
That's not the case this week. So when all things are even or close, and you got Hall of Fame head coach versus a rookie head coach, I lean with the team with the Hall of Fame coach.
I think history plays a part too. I don't think they've lost. I saw some stat. We've lost to them since just in general since 2015.
Yeah, the rain game,
8 or 9 games.
Yeah. It was pouring down. I remember that was my second year here. It was pouring down rain. We had our Bumblebee jerseys on.
I was here,
and that was the game where Le'Veon got hurt.
Yep,
yeah,
I remember that.
It was crazy.
That was unfortunate, but we haven't lost to them in a while. And so I'm assuming that's the same mentality in the Steelers locker room with the Steelers players.
Yeah,
you just don't lose this game.
But the only reason why I always laugh a little bit at that narrative is because last week it was even worse in terms of Steelers, how often they beat the Browns.
Yeah, but we talked about this though, and you just said it. There was a talent gap. Like we're not.
But that's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. That was it. That's it. Don't shoot the messenger. Like I just like to give you a little caveat, little voice of reason.
Hold on though.
Yeah.
we probably both weren't surprised. I definitely wasn't that we lost to the Browns.
I was surprised we turned the ball over that much and lost.
Okay.
Because if we don't turn the ball over, I don't think we lose that game.
Okay, but if we lose to the Bengals, you're surprised.
Honestly, half of me would be and the other half wouldn't, because I say to myself, we've seen how bad this offense can look at times in terms of the 4 turnovers.
Well, if we just play like we have, instead of the Browns game,
so that's my thing. Though, if we play like how we play going into that Browns game, like come off that Rams game, I thought that they should go in there and beat the Browns on the road. But that's the thing about the NFL. You can't just say absolutely, oh, this is what we're going to get, or this is not what we're going to get. We've seen this offense turn the ball. We've seen this offense allow points. That was, at least with the 4 picks, they didn't turn into direct points. That, granted, they still scored, but it wasn't, a pick 6, a fumble recovery, and a safety. Those are the things I'm like, we know our offense can do that to themselves. So if they go out there and they do that, and the Bengals are just giving a heavy dose of Joe Mixon, they're not turning the ball over, that puts us in a bad situation. So for me, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised. But then the other side is like, if we go out there and execute like we're supposed to and we beat them soundly, that doesn't surprise me either, just because we've seen both of those teams show up in 2 weeks. Think about that, the Rams performance, and think about the Browns performance. We've seen 2 drastically different teams. The one thing that's been consistent throughout it all is the defense. So that's why I'm just like, I feel confident in that. But our offense, it's a coin flip. Are they going to move the ball? Or are they going to turn the ball over?
And especially being without Juju, Deontay, and James Conner.
And that's why for me, I'm like, what I really like, when you really think about this, if you're going out there with Jalen Samuels, a Benny Snell who might be healthy, might not be all the way healthy, and Trey Edmonds at running back, you're going to have maybe Deontay Johnson, James Washington, or we don't even know the full set because, like you say, he's still in the protocol. But if he does clear the protocol, Deontay Johnson, James Washington, and Tevin Jones, or is it Johnny Holton?
I don't know, man.
Right. You're down. No Pouncey. Now it's BJ Finney.
Maybe put in that new dude we got from the Colts. Maybe give him
Deion
a shot.
Kane. Okay.
Yeah.
But either way, you see, like for me, that's why I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily be shocked if they go out there and they can't get it done, because we've seen what the offense look like when they're fully healthy.
Well, here's my thinking. Coming off a game where we performed like that, and having the extra few days to prepare,
correct,
and knowing we're still in the mix, 5-5. Like, you gotta ball out. Like, you gotta come in here with, I gotta step up. Yeah. Like, maybe because it was a short week last week on Thursday night, we were just coming off that huge Rams win. I don't want to say like you let your guard down, but there's just factors that play into you're not going to play as well as maybe you should on the road, short week, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so this, I don't know, this time around, I feel like you just got to go in with, we just got to get the job done, ball out, no matter who's out there.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I can play devil's advocate and say, hey, the Bengals are like, when you look at the teams we've lost to, they're ranked here. You look at how we lost, it's been close. This team, that team, that team. What better way than to ruin the Steelers season by giving them an L? Our first win, their loss knocks them out. There's multiple factors to that. Either way, though, like you said, Steelers got to get it done.
Yeah.
Like, surprised or not surprised, they got to get it done. Period.
Absolutely.
Because if they don't, then it's over for them.
Definitely.
It's over.
Well, I was going to bring this up with Mason because we just posted that video and talked about it a little bit on the last podcast of Mason versus Duck, or the Steelers QB situation. How are you grading him going forward in terms of him still being the starter? I texted you, or we were talking on the phone. I said you give these next 2 games and see how he does. Yeah. And because that'll be the season, these 2 games.
Absolutely. Yeah, he has to operate at a high level in these 2 games. If he's out here turning the ball over these next 2 games and you effectively remove yourself from the playoff picture, well then I think you start looking at potentially making that switch, because now you've seen that, okay, he
what
might
if
not be our guy.
We're winning with him?
If you're winning with him is different.
Doing that stuff though.
But this is the thing. I don't think those things are going to happen together.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this team has enough talent from the offensive side where they can win while turning the ball over multiple times like that. I just don't.
That's fair.
And history would back that, because you typically don't win games when you're losing a turnover battle. Like, they just typically go hand in hand, which is why it was so crazy to see the Steelers lose early on in the season with all the turnovers they were generating. But the problem was the costly or untimely turnovers that the Steelers offense was having. So for me, I think in order for this team to win the next 2 games, Mason has to play good. And I don't like, there is no baseline of he has to throw for 200 yards.
Yeah, when you say good, you've mentioned this before. Efficient. It's just got to be don't turn it over.
Yes, don't turn the ball over, play efficient, and win possession downs. If he does that, they're fine. If he's turning the ball over, if he's not being efficient, those things are going to kill this team. They're not going to be in the playoffs, period.
Yeah. Well, so we mentioned it a little earlier. Actually, do you want to get into predictions real quick?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right. And then maybe I'll throw in a couple other hot topics that are out there I wanted to bring up.
Let's do it.
All right. So actually, you know what? I said it 15-6. I'm going to go with it.
All right.
5 field goals from Boz, 2 from them.
That's interesting. All right.
What are you saying?
I say 17-7. I think the Steelers offense finds a way to at least score. I think they might be able to score twice. Honestly, just because you have to assume that 1 or 2 of their times when they get the ball is going to be in a short field, red zone, because of the turnovers that I think this defense is going to generate versus them. And I think that's why they'll be able to get those points. I do think that Joe Mixon is good enough to lead them on at least one drive like we saw last week and like we've seen from them.
It'll be first half.
Even 2 weeks before versus the Rams, they were still in that mix, finding ways to get it done. So for me, that's the only reason why I think that they're still going to find a way to score. And I don't really care when it is, as long as we win. That's the biggest thing, man. You say first half or second half, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'm just saying, if it does happen, that's when it will, because they're not scoring in the second half.
Hey, man, I don't get into it because I've seen teams scoring us in the second half. So that's just, hey.
Maybe one of the field goals that are in my prediction, but they're not scoring a touchdown second half. You could book that right now.
I hope you're right.
If there's a wait, I wonder what type of line or what type of bet could be out there for the Bengals.
I'm sure you can find it, man. I'm not taking that bet. I'm leaving it alone.
I might need to look into that.
Yeah. Hey, more power to you. As long as they win, that's all I care about. Win, get it done. Don't turn the ball over. Win the turnover battle. That's the real thing, man.
And then we'll be 6-5.
Be a great day.
And then we'll be chopping it up again next week about how. Well, I don't know, 16 or 15 points from me, 17 points from you. Yeah. That wouldn't be necessarily blowing them out or anything, but a win's a win.
You could win convincingly though.
True.
With 17 or 15 points, without a doubt.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Steelers win, hopefully.
Boom.
And now on to the NFL.com QB rankings.
Yeah.
Dude, come on. Come on, dude. Like, Kyler Murray above Tom Brady.
It's wild right now, bro.
Derek Carr above Tom Brady. They have Tom Brady at 12.
But technically they're going off of what we've seen this year. And it's a conversation that we've had, right?
Yes.
In terms of if you got to pick a quarterback based off what we've seen this year to win you a game, just this year, not in the past, just this year, you were saying that you would take Tom Brady, and I said I would take Russell Wilson. Yeah. Because what we've seen just this year. And you keep saying, what did you say? What did you say?
Just don't worry. Just don't worry.
He's going to find a way. It's going to click for him eventually.
Always.
But only for one game, and it's based on what we've seen from them this year.
Here's the problem. It's not how I know you get to say this year.
That's what we're saying, just this year. And that's the ranking is based off of this year. We're not ranking them off of what they did last year, what they've done for the past 5 years. We're not saying who's the better quarterback over the past 5 years. I
still think there's got to be context and play with that.
But why
would you not take Tom Brady top 5 still right now? Like if you're picking a quarterback rest of the season.
But this is the thing. You're saying top 5 in terms of killing what we've seen from him last year. Last year, Phillip Rivers was a top 5 quarterback, arguably. Is he a top 5 quarterback right now?
I would have not put Rivers in the top 5 last year.
Okay, top 7. Who would you have named last year?
He would
Brady. You would have Brady, Ben, Breeze.
I'd have him 8 or 9 probably.
Name the 8. Name them.
Okay. So
Brady,
Ben.
Well,
I got to put
Drew
Ben.
Brees.
Ben first.
So that's 3.
Ben first. Brady.
Okay. Drew Brees. Rodgers.
Breeze.
Okay.
And then who did I have on my list?
You put Russell Wilson.
Mahomes. Wilson. Andrew Luck. Over Rivers
last year?
Yes.
Last year.
Yes, I told you we had this conversation in the summer. I had Wilson and Luck over Rivers.
Keep going. It was.
Dude, you could throw Matty Ice over him too, Cam.
I'm gonna save you from yourself.
Just save me from myself.
I'm gonna save you from yourself.
Dude, Rivers, he ain't that, man.
Last year?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. There's context. There's context to all of this.
So I'm just saying, if we're going off of the context, you said if I said just top 5 quarterbacks this year.
What did he do in the playoffs? This is my point. Like, you can have.
Bro, stop that. You can't say Matty Ice in the playoffs. Have you seen him? What? I'm saving from yourself, bro. You good? I'm saving from yourself.
No, save me from myself. Wait, so how would you rank him then?
If you're saying
you didn't have him in your top 5 last year.
No. Rivers. I told you that, but you said. In terms of,
I have him 8 or 9, something like that.
Bro.
That's what I'm saying. You could throw some of those other dudes in the mix.
We just disagree in terms of talent evaluation. That's fine. That's fine,
dude. I don't know. What has Rivers done? I don't see it.
Over Matty Ice, what has he done?
No, I didn't say I would take Matty Ice over.
Did.
No,
you named him. You said
in the mix, in that mix. Because I just named 7. I named a definitive 7.
It wasn't a definitive 7 though.
What? Oh,
well,
yeah.
For you, it was definitive.
I would for sure
for you was
Luck, Wilson, and then those other 5.
Yeah, for you, it was definitive. Yeah,
and then having another 3 or 4.
Fine. That's fine.
Maybe Cam would be a bad call, but I'm a Cam fan, so
that's fine. That's fine. You're funny.
So, all right, what are we getting back to?
So we're talking about the QBR
yes.
rankings and how you feel that Brady should be higher.
Yeah, maybe there's just something to these rankings. People just got to stop.
Maybe. I guess my question is, what have we seen from Brady this year to make you think that he should be higher?
But couldn't you say his offense is crappy?
Russell Wilson's offense is trash.
I would say his talent's way better than Brady. Way better.
We could do this. If you put Tom Brady on the Seahawks and their offense right now, he's going to look terrible because, number one, their offensive line cannot protect.
It is a different offense. There's different systems.
I'm just saying. Correct. You could put Russell Wilson on that Patriots offense right now. He's still going to ball out.
You're bringing up fair points.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think he would look trash, dude. It's Tom Brady.
What has he been looking like right now? Exactly.
Dude, could it not be the offense, though?
Tom Brady has played in bad offenses before, has he not?
Yeah, and they've been winning, and they're winning.
So what's the difference? And he's looked good with that bad offense before.
Yeah, but people still would rank him in the top 5, even whenever he was looking kind of.
No, he wasn't looking like that. He would always look good. He would put his numbers up, but the offensive line would be trash. The O-line could never protect. And his receivers, he had Chris Hogan. I love Chris Hogan. That's my dog. We played together. But he wasn't a world beater. But Brady made him look like that. You see, watch Chris Hogan before he gets to New England, and then watch Chris Hogan after he left New England, and you tell me what he is.
Well, maybe it's that bad, though, where he doesn't even have a Chris Hogan.
He still has Julian Edelman. He has Mohamed Sanu. I would take Mohamed Sanu over Chris Hogan.
Ooh,
I've seen Mohamed Sanu look good at multiple places now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's had over 700 or 800 yards in his career, but he's looked. You're right. He's looked good.
Who's a better player?
He's looked good other places, whereas Hogan has looked
only looked good in New England.
In New England, correct? I will give you that. It's Tom Brady, man. You could give
off
me
the name, and that's why I say the same way you say it's Tom Brady. People are going to make the argument about Phillip. Oh, it's Phillip Rivers. Same way people are making an argument about Eli Manning. Oh, it's Eli Manning. Same concept, bro. When you take the names off their jersey and you just look at what we're seeing from these players on the field right now, not in the past, just right now. You tell me.
Wait,
has he shown anything? If you didn't know that was Tom Brady, if that jersey said Ben Jackenstein was the quarterback for the New England Patriots right now, he's looking just like that. You're gonna say, "Oh, that dude's a bum. Oh, he's average at best. He's no different than the Steelers quarterback right now."
Dude, there's something to context though, where you just can't take this season because
all I'm saying is
his whole career adds up to this season.
This is what I'm saying though. When you say you can't just take this season, they're not doing this QBR ranking based off of all time or over the past 2 years.
I don't know what they're doing.
They're doing it off of this season. This season.
See, I don't know what they're doing though. Like if they're saying this season and they're ranking it this way, my assumption is they're saying these are the 11 quarterbacks I would take over Tom Brady rest of the season.
No, they're just saying as of what we've seen thus far, this is how we rank these quarterbacks.
But this is what I'm asking them, then why even have the rankings if you're not saying like
Why not? You have to rank to give context, right?
No, because
why not? How would you know who's good and who's not if you don't have a scale to base off of? Okay, last year Brady was here. This year Brady is here.
No, dude. My thing is, you say I'm taking this quarterback and I need them to win me a game. That's the scale. I mean, numbers can help your case.
What?
Like, and you know, I told you when stats back me up, that's when I like them. But nah, man, it's just I want a quarterback. I want to win a game.
You want the
that's
name.
how you.
You
That's
like
how
the
you.
name. You like the name? No, seriously, because we can make the same argument. If that's the case, that we can go for Phillip Rivers as well. Because
You don't want him. You don't want him trying.
Over the past 10 years, Phillip Rivers has consistently been in the top 10, arguably top 5 as a quarterback.
This is my point.
No. Over the past, if you want to go context, over the past 10 years, Phillip Rivers is in that conversation. Fringe Hall of Famer. We talked about that, right? You don't become a Fringe Hall of Famer if you're not a top 5 quarterback while playing. We talked about that. So with that being said, how can you not have that context for him?
Because I just said, if you want a quarterback to win you a game, you're not picking Phillip Rivers.
I'll pick Russell Wilson right now over Tom Brady.
Okay, that's an argument.
But think about this. How long has Russell Wilson been good?
He's been good for a minute.
No, don't you do that. How long has he really been good?
Come on, dude.
How long has he been good? So he's the reason why they won that Super Bowl, right? Stop it,
dude. Here's the thing. No, there's something.
Stop it.
And this is the thing. This is the thing that Steeler fans are upset about with Mason.
On,
I think.
Let's hear it, man.
The it factor.
It's no it factor. He had Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch. That's your it factor right there.
Dude, but still, when there's time, there's a time to make a play. Can you count on this guy? That's one of the criteria.
When do you gauge when it's time to make a play? What?
There's clutch moments.
How do you get to the clutch moments?
He wins.
So the rest of it doesn't matter then.
What do you mean?
You heighten these clutch moments. If it's not for Legion of Boom, if it's not for Marshawn Lynch, it doesn't matter what you do in that one play, because they're the reason why you get to that one play.
Right, but yeah, you got to show up then. Even if you're coming in as a young quarterback,
okay,
prove that you belong in those
and he
moments.
did. You know what he did? Hand the ball off, play action pass. Defense winning for us. What? Stop that, man. Stop that.
Dude, he played.
And you made the same conversation about Ben's rookie year. Oh, man, he got the it. He has the clutch moments.
He did.
The defense. The running game. Stop it, bro. Stop it.
Listen, that's all there. That's all part of it. But like, you gotta perform when you need to perform. It's as simple as that.
You got it, bro.
Like, if your defense is that good, then just play out, play
don't
ball.
Don't turn the ball over. That's your whole job. Don't turn the ball over.
But there were times, I'm telling you,
he would make throws. Yes,
that's what I mean.
Yes,
that's what I mean. There's quarterbacks that
you're
don't
making
do
it bigger than
Blake
what
Bortles,
it is, though.
Blake Bortles with Jacksonville.
They went to the AFC Championship game that year.
That's what I mean. He didn't make the plays,
bro. They went to the AFC Championship game that year. What?
But there's a reason he's not in the league anymore.
What?
So there's one, or not in the league. I'm sorry, a backup. But there's no. Give what I'm saying. Like,
I'm listening, bro.
All right, so let's say Ben's on that Jaguars team.
Okay.
And yeah, they go maybe 2 years to the AFC Championship, go deep in the playoffs. For him to be a great player still, you have to be consistent and keep on doing that and progress. Mm-hmm. So
all I'm saying is, early in Ben's career, early in Russell Wilson's career, and even Tom Brady's career, they had elite level defenses that helped them a ton.
Yes.
They took the load off of them, whereas instead of I need you to be great for 90% of the plays, I need you only great for 10% of the plays. For me as a player, I don't heighten those 10% to be bigger than the 90%. So that's why for me, it's like, I understand what you're saying about Ben and those clutch. I understand what you're saying, because you do have to have that. But what I'm saying is, you have to, that same context you talk about, you can't glorify that so much to make that as if, hey, they were the main reason. And that's how it comes off, though. That's how it comes off.
I'm not, though. I'm not.
All right, that's what I'm saying. That's how it comes off, man.
No, trust me, I'm not. I'm just saying, I feel like people would agree with me. Having Brady at 12 is...
I don't think
but I
so.
give it,
because it's off of this year. We're not basing it off of history. Off of the history, without a doubt, we can name how many quarterbacks. We would say Ben,
but I'm still.
Brady. I'm saying if we're going off of history, we would say Ben, Brady, Breeze. You could throw Phillip Rivers in the argument because he's done it longer than Russell. He's done it longer than Luck. He's done it longer than Matty Ice and all these other guys. You can rank them that way, of course. But when we're talking about just this season.
I am going off this season,
But how can you be going off of this
I'm
season?
also taking some of that other stuff into play.
But see, that's what I'm saying though. When they're doing these rankings, they're not going off of the other stuff. They're just going off of
They're foolish.
this season.
I think that's what I got to get to.
You say they're foolish. They can say you're foolish though, because they're saying off of what we've seen over these 10 games, who's looked good and who hasn't looked good.
Well, dude, we'll see in the playoffs who's foolish.
We will,
That's what I'll
absolutely.
Should I send them an email or something?
Oh man, hey, you do what you do, man. Anything I always laugh
I feel
too.
like you're a little bit on my side here.
It's hard to, because this is why, right? Even with this, you say we'll see what they do in the playoffs. Now
Here's the thing.
but now you're taking a solo ranking and basing off of your team.
Yeah, but no,
yes, you are. When you say we'll see how they do the rest of the season in the playoffs, right? Because I tell people all the time, when you talk just the numbers, right? Everybody's like, "Oh man, well look at what Brady's done and how many Super Bowls he's won. Look at Ben, or look at Phillip Rivers and how many Super Bowls he's won." Jeez, man, Phillip Rivers has to suck because he's never done in the playoffs. He's never won a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that you're saying that, but I'm saying that's how people refer to him, right? I'm taking Andrew Luck over this guy, even though Phillip Rivers has done it a lot longer. But the thing is, when you talk about the teams
hairs between 7 and 8, that's like splitting hairs, though.
Not really, because it's disrespectful. Like what? You said Matty Ice over Phillip Rivers.
I didn't say
you
that.
did.
I said in the mix.
It shouldn't be a mix though. It should be clear. That's all I'm saying.
Matty Ice had a good year last year.
A good year.
He's had a good year. MVP season.
Congratulations. Phillip Rivers has done it longer and more consistently. Look at the numbers.
Dude, let's
a simple question right here. Is Matty Ice a fringe Hall of Famer? Is he even close to being a Hall of Famer? Just period. Is he close to being a Hall of Famer? Realistically.
No, I wouldn't. Close. Nah, very good. You would just say he had a good career, a really good career.
Phillip Rivers, Hall of Famer or not?
You're putting that on the fringe.
He's legit in the conversation, correct? You see the difference?
I see the difference, but I mean, Ryan's got to actually wait. When was he drafted? The year after him, huh? 2 years after?
Keep going.
3 years after?
I'm just saying. I
think it was 3 years after.
Okay.
2 or 3 years.
Whatever, however many it was, whatever.
I think there's a few more years. Ryan's prime, not prime, but some better years left for him.
For real?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop. All right.
Ryan?
I'm gonna help you out, bro.
Dude, good, bro. No, come on.
You good.
Oh
you good.
My goodness.
You good. It's all good, man.
You would put Ryan in the top 10 right now.
Are you? You would?
Or some of these other dudes? Come on. I'd have to look at it. I wasn't.
All right. Hey,
wasn't as prepared for getting into Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers.
Smart answer right there. There we go. Smart answer right there.
I got to look at it.
Yeah. You check that out, baby. You check that out. We just look over, over their career spans, because we know Phillip Rivers is in the conversation for the Hall of Fame. Like it or not, he's in the conversation.
I'm telling you though. But this goes back to the feel thing. Mm-hmm. This goes back to the feel thing. Yeah. His career's been better, because honestly, if we look back at the numbers, Matt Ryan, the numbers are probably really similar. Really similar.
Say, whatever you say.
And he had an MVP. So
whatever you say.
What?
Whatever you say.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying. Hey, you justify how you want to justify it. One's gonna be in the legit conversation for Hall of Fame. One is not.
Yeah, but I don't think
that's that simple.
But I don't know how much that's based off numbers then, because I'm telling you, if you look back at them, they're probably really similar. You're giving
whatever
that
you say, bro.
You're giving credence to that feel thing
whatever
a little bit.
Say, man. Whatever you say. Whatever you say.
All right, you want to
whatever you say.
Do you want to end this, or you want to keep going? I think we're good.
We're good, man. We good.
This was fun. I hope people enjoy this.
They do. They love this, bro. You know that. And we love them. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. So
we're gonna let Matty Ice finish it for us, man.
Dude, how long did we go? An hour 4.
All right, go ahead, wrap us up, Matt Ryan. Go ahead, wrap us up, bro.
I'm not even a Matt Ryan fan.
Go ahead, wrap us up, Matt Ryan. Come on, man.
Come on, dude. I'm just telling you, if we look at the stats, they're closer than you think.
Whatever you say, man. ATL for life, baby. Let's do it. Let's go Falcons.
No. Well, anyway,
Dirty bird it up, baby.
Anyway, this was a fun conversation.
Always, baby, always.
I hope you guys enjoyed listening.
Especially Matt Ryan.
Appreciate you for tuning in.
Yeah.
And until next time. Peace.
Peace. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very special guest. Not only was he one of the most dominant safeties for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we're talking one of the most dominant safeties in the NFL from the late 70s to the early 80s. 4-time Super Bowl champ. We like to call him here in Pittsburgh the Torpedo. Ladies and gentlemen, Donnie Shell. Donnie, man, appreciate you coming on the podcast with us today, man.
I'm looking forward to it, Arthur.
Hey, so hopping right into this thing, right? You were undrafted coming out of college. Just talk about how you ended up signing with the Steelers and what was your mindset like once you arrived?
Well, in 1974, they had 17 rounds in the draft, and I wasn't picked. Man. And then the next day, I got offers from the old Houston Oilers and Denver Broncos and the Steelers. But the year before, they had drafted Barney Chavis from South Carolina State. Denver Broncos had drafted Barney Chavis in the second round. And we was on the phone talking. He said, man, come on out here. I'm going to take care of you. You know how you did. I said, man, I said, yeah, Barney, we got it now. So, man, I went to bed that night and couldn't sleep, man. And I got up and I said, let me go talk to Coach Jeffries, my head coach at South Carolina State. I said, Coach, I'm kind of undecided. I told Barney I was thinking about Denver, but I want to know what you think. and he said, look, hey, you need to go to Pittsburgh, very emphatically. I said, Pittsburgh? He said, you need to go to Pittsburgh. I said, Coach, why? He said, they fit your MO. You said you're a hard worker. You work hard and you give 100%, and that's the type of people that they are. I said, okay, Coach.
I like it.
I signed with Pittsburgh.
Shout out to the coach, baby.
There you go.
now that coach, he had a pretty big impact on your mentality, right? How did you feel like you belonged in the NFL after not being picked 17 rounds? How did you go into the Steelers, that camp as a rookie with, hey, I feel like I can do this and I'm going to make this roster?
Well, that's the attitude that we have at South Carolina State University. Before I left, Coach Jeffers told me they put their pads on just like you, Donnie. And then you go up there. You're a great hitter. You go up there, and that's how you gonna make it. You go up there and show them that we can play ball too.
So you had never any doubts coming from South Carolina State compared to other players coming from bigger schools and whatnot?
No, I did not, because we had a pretty good defense. I think Harry Carson's on that defense, Barney Chavis, and Mickey Sims used to play with Cleveland Browns. So we had a good defense and played in the pros. So we just had confidence that we were going to make it. And look here, man, when you back in the early 70s, in 2 a day practices down in Orangeburg, South Carolina, it's 95 degrees, humidity 110. Ooh. Oh yeah, I can do that.
Hey, major respect. Oh man. Now during your playing career, man, you were highly decorated, right? I'm talking 5 consecutive Pro Bowls, 3-time All-Pro. So what was it about this steel curtain defense that allowed you to be so dominant?
Hey man, we 1001, 2 and 2.5. Hey, you got to get rid of the ball, bro. Hey, we had 40 interceptions off cover 2, a 2 deep zone. Can you believe that?
That's crazy. Wow, I like it.
Now, do you have a favorite Chuck Noll story from that time, or maybe some type of life lesson that he instilled with you?
Yeah, Chuck was a great teacher, a great mentor, and he prepared us for not only football when we were playing, but life after sports. He said, you just got to get ready for your life work. And, you can't do this all your life, so you got to prepare for that. But I do remember, I think it was 1974, and the Miami Dolphins played the Oakland Raiders out there, and Oakland beat them. And then I remember that the head coach said that the 2 best teams played today. John Madden, the head coach.
Yes.
And our next meeting, man, Chuck came in. Chuck is he's very reserved. He never says anything, never raises his voice. Excuse me. You know what? He said the best 2 teams played yesterday. You know what? I believe the best team is in this room. And boy, we got fired up, man. You talking about people got fired up? He never says that. Never give any type of speeches like that.
Yeah,
we got fired. I looked over at Joe Green, man. He said, "Yeah, we ready, done. Let's go get him."
Is there any little things that he would do to help you guys prepare for life after football?
Yeah, he always talk about life after football. You know, he said life is hard. You know, football practice is hard. Life is going to be the same way when you get out. And he always encouraged us to be the best that we can be, because he knew that was a life after sports. And I remember my first 2 years I was working on my master's degree, and I told him in training camp, but I went back and I got my master's degree. He said, I'm very proud of you. That's the way to work.
Man, that's dope.
But he'd always incorporate life lessons with his coaching.
I like that. And big kudos to you for going back and getting that master's while playing. I mean, guys like you ultimately paved the way for guys like me. I did something similar in terms of finishing my master's while playing, but seeing people like you do it first, I mean, that sets the tone, man, in terms of understanding what life is after football as well. So, man, just major shout out to you again for that.
Hey, appreciate it, man. And that was a part of came out of Chuck and came from my parents.
Man,
you know, you got to prepare for your life. You're not going to play. If I played 14 years, I'm 35 years old, man. I got 30 more years to work.
No question.
I can't get my Social Security. I can't get my Social Security yet.
Hey, look, and speaking of your long career, I mean, you talk about 14 years playing, but look, over 200 career games you played in. That's not even counting the 19 playoff games that you played in as well. But during that span, you only missed 10 games. So just talk about what was the key to you staying healthy and ultimately preparing yourself to play week in and week out like that?
You know, just training, man. Training, getting your body in the best shape that you possibly get in. And then, man, look, I pray. I said, Lord, keep me healthy, keep me safe. It's a dangerous game out there. And along with being in shape and in great condition, I think my prayers were answered.
I like that. Now, back then, a lot of the guys, they did have multiple jobs, right? When the season would be over. So just talk about how you would focus on your training during that time frame to make sure you were good to go once it started up.
Well, you know, we were done about the 1st of January back in the day. I think Super Bowl was about the 1st or 2nd week in January. So we were done the season. In fact, when we didn't have to be back, we didn't have to go back for any off-season conditioning or workout.
That's crazy. No OTAs.
So we had January until July. Oh. But here's the clincher, is that you better be in shape and in condition, because if you didn't, you got cut.
Oh.
So,
okay.
So yes, we had to prepare. Like my first 2 years, I was in grad school, and then after that, I got involved with real estate during the off season.
I like it. Wow, that's crazy. No, you had a chance to play with multiple very talented players and Hall of Famers, right? So just talk about what it was like lining up with those guys at the various stages of not only your career, but their career as well.
Well, it was great because we don't only had great players, we had great people. And we built relationships on and off the football field. People after the game, people have us over for dinner at their house, and have a bunch of players over, and during Thanksgiving, everybody brought a meal, and we sit around with our families. And those are the things that people don't see behind the scenes.
Right.
And now I have had relationship with Mel Blunt, John Stallworth over 40-some years. And we still communicating and have a great relationship.
I like that, man. That's key, though, honestly. Even when I was playing, understanding the importance of being close-knit, spending time off the field, because you play harder for people that you personally like, correct?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I said you play a lot harder for people that you personally like and have a personal connection with, you know?
Oh, no question about it. I think that's what the relationship did. You know, we were close on and off the football field, so we got to know each other in our families, and that's translated on the field, because it's just build a great camaraderie not only in the locker room but in life, and that's why we communicate with each other.
Absolutely,
still today.
Speaking of Mel Blunt, isn't there a story between you and him where I know you were benched your first 3 years of your career playing nickel corner and then also playing some special teams. One, what is that story behind you and Mel Blount? Did he take you aside and talk to you? And like, what did he say? Like, how were you encouraged as opposed to being discouraged in that point of your career?
Yeah, I was discouraged, man, because everything I ever did, it was pee-wee ball, high school or college. I was the captain. I was captain of a football, baseball, and basketball team in high school. And then when I went to college, I played baseball and football, so I was the captain of both of those teams. And then when I got to Pittsburgh, man, I was sitting on the bench. I said, man, I was the man all through my career. I said, they said, what's up with that? So I said, why I can't start on this level? So I got a little discouraged, and Mel saw me at my locker one day, and back in the day, they called you Rook. He hollered way across the room, "Hey, Rook! hey, you going to dinner with me?" I said, who me? He said, "Yeah, you going to dinner." I'm a good businessman, so I'm gonna find out who paying. I said, "You paying?" He said, "Yeah, come on here, you going to dinner." So we got out, man. And he said, "Look, Donnie, I've never seen anybody play the special team like you. You are a unique guy going down there, making the tackle on the 25-yard line and getting us in good position. You're a nickelback, you playing on third down, and you coming in on goal line." So he said, "Look, man, the last 2 years they got knocked off the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They had got knocked out of the playoffs prior to '74. Right. And they had their jaw set, man. They were going to the Super Bowl." He said, "Look, you're doing a great job, man." I said, "We need you. But everybody needs to do their job. And that is your responsibility. That's your job. And if you keep doing that, we'll get to where we want to go." Everybody wanted to go. I said, "Yeah, I want to go." He said, "Well, you're doing a great job." You know what, man? I really want to start. I just want somebody to tell me that I was doing a great job.
Need that affirmation.
And when Mel sowed those seeds of encouragement to me, I always try to, when I observe somebody, or especially young people, and I see that God got their hand on them, he got talents and abilities, I always try to encourage them. I said, "Man, just wait your turn. Just keep working hard. Don't give up. It's a plan for your life." And Mel really encouraged me. And what he did was brought me back in the fold of a team. And I understand the team concept. That everybody has a part to play in it. Where it's great part, where you're out front, or you're in not starting and coming off the bench like I was. You still, he made me feel special.
And that's dope, man. Big kudos to Mel Blount too, man, for recognizing that and sowing that seed in you. Now, Speaking of you in that role, in terms of when you see people and how you want to motivate them, after you retired, you went on to, for 15 years, be the director of player development for the Carolina Panthers. So just talk about what led you to that decision and ultimately how fulfilling it was being in that role.
Well, I always thought I wanted to be a coach. And from my high school coach, Coach Lefty Johnson, used to take me home afterwards and practice and talk to me and said, "Man, you can be whatever you want to be." I said, he said, you can go to college. I said, "Coach, 9 brothers and sisters, and my family ain't got no money." I'm thinking that, and he was a Caucasian guy too. I said, "Wow." I said, what in the world? What is he talking about? When you're young, man, you just can't see, but he saw something in me. To every day, every afternoon, he bring me back home. "Man, Don, you can do whatever you want to be. You can be whatever you want. All you got to do is keep your nose to the grindstone, keep out of trouble, and things will work out for you." Man, I didn't know, but I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. I wanted to come back and do what he did to us when we was going through. He cared about us more than just on the football field. And I thought that was in coaching on the field, but when I got to the Pittsburgh and I got to Carolina Panthers, it was coaching men in their life coaching. That's what it was. I had to get the you got to know your calling. You might be in the wrong field for coaching.
Ain't that the truth?
So, but it was. So what I learned in Pittsburgh, and what I learned when I was those 6 years that I was out and working, and before I got to the Carolina Panthers in business, I poured that back into those guys in developing programs for their wives and their families when I got to the Carolina Panthers.
Man, that's awesome. That is awesome. Now, this is the one I've been waiting on all day, this question right here, right? So you are one of the most highly decorated players of all time in the NFL. Not only do you have the personal stats to back it up, but you have the hardware, the multiple Super Bowl rings. Now, a number of Hall of Famers themselves have spoken on your behalf in terms of how deserving you are of that honor of being in the Hall of Fame. But for some reason, the people have been overlooking you on numerous occasions when it comes to getting in the Hall. So just talk about what it would mean to you if you got that nod in the NFL's 100th season to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I believe that good things come to those who wait.
Absolutely.
You know, if I got that nod, that means God has opened the door to give me a bigger platform to glorify and honor Him, and to meet more people, to sow back in more people's lives, and to encourage other people. That's what I would do with that.
Man,
I
love that.
What have you thought about that thus far after your NFL career not being in? Because the stats are there, like everything is there,
clear cut.
So how do you go about that in your day-to-day life?
Well, I get up, I spend my time, my quiet time, and I pray. I read my scriptures. They're encouraging to me. And I just turn things over to the Lord. It said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these other things will be added to you.
Talk about it.
Sometimes people get things and they can't handle it.
True.
Where it's money, where it's being all pro, or being in the Hall of Fame.
Talk about it.
And then you'll turn around and start worshiping that rather than the true God. So I know when He adds things to me, I'm going to be able to handle it. He got a purpose for it.
Hey,
there you go.
I like that, man. A wise man right there.
Yes.
Very wise man.
Now, Donnie,
Now, Arthur, I'm not going to charge y'all. Y'all need to put something in the collection plate on that.
I got a little something for it. I got a little something on it.
Go ahead, man.
Now, Donnie, you're a big-time golfer, right?
Yes.
Is there a most interesting foursome that you've been a part of?
Interesting foursome I've been a part of. I can't think of any.
Who's the best player you played with then on the golf course?
Greg Lloyd.
Oh,
really?
He was when I had my tournament last year down in Augusta. You know, I was playing with their foursome because there was my sponsors, and I told them that I would play at least 8 or 9 holes with them. And Greg Lloyd, Cliff Stout. Oh my, Cliff Stout hits the ball 1,000 yards.
Wow.
He can just blast it out there, man.
Wow, okay.
John Stallworth. These guys.
Oh man.
What do you shoot?
I mean, man. What did I shoot?
No, just in general. Yeah, like what's your handicap?
Yeah. Too many. No, I'm not a good golfer, but I like to be out there and I like to compete.
Hey, that's what it's all about.
I don't like golf to beat me.
Okay.
So
okay.
I got to be good. I'm not a natural at golf, so I had to practice. I got to go to the driving range before and practice and play around too and get my rhythm. I'm just not a natural golfer, but when I get out there, I like to compete.
Okay.
So I'll have some shots at sometimes you make a birdie and sometimes you're chipping out of the sand trap, and then all of a sudden the ball goes in for a birdie, and everybody's running. Hey! I said, what y'all shouting about? It went in. So I like the quietness, and I like the fellowship that you have because you're playing with people that you're gonna spend about 4 hours, 5 hours with. So that's important too.
I like that,
Sure.
man. So it's our final question for the day. Now, we ask any of our athletes that come on the podcast this one thing. So tell us, I know it's been a little while, but you're welcome to the NFL moment.
Sorry, I missed that.
I said, so talk about your welcome to the NFL moment.
Oh, my welcome to the NFL moment?
Yes, indeed.
Huh, that's interesting. I think it was in training camp, and the reporter asked. I was doing pretty good in training camp, and they had a strike that year, so the veterans players wasn't in. We was getting a lot of reps, and the reporter came up to me and said, "Well, Mr. Shell, can I interview you after lunch?" I said, "Sure." And the first thing out of his mouth, he said, "Do you know that you're a long shot to make this team?" I said, I said, no. I said, no. He said, yeah, you was undrafted. You're not going to get a lot of reps and stuff. Usually free agents don't get a lot of reps and different things and of that. And you're not going to get a lot of time, practice time. And so you're a long shot. Everything he said was true. But I say this, and I hope young people are listening. Sometimes you got to go against the grain. And my response was the same response I just said earlier about when Coach Jeffers told me you put your pads on. I looked at him and said very emphatically, I said, look, I put my pads on, my coach told me when I got up here, if I put my pads on just like everybody else, I got a good a chance to make this team as anybody else.
Okay.
And he was taken aback. I said, no. I said, I'm going to work and work hard.
I like that.
So that was my moment there, and I share that story because I don't want people in general and also young people to give up, because everything he said was right, but sometimes you just got to go against the grain of that.
No question.
To get to where you need to go.
No
Absolutely.
question. Believing in yourself, man. Understanding that, hey, if you believe it, then you can achieve it. No question. There you go. Man. I like that. Hey, we definitely appreciate you, man, for taking time out to come on the podcast, man. It's been a blast. And yeah, you're a legend. You got to get in the hall, man. Get this man in the hall ASAP.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys today.
No
doubt, man.
It was a blast. Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Y'all take care.
All right, you
Have
too.
a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.